Welcome to everyone. We are in the Atma Bodha sessions. We have completed 56 verses. Today we are going to see the 57 and 58. And we also have a program of chanting or reciting of the slokas we have learned so far by our revered sahajyas, co-learners. Okay. What is the 55th verse? Let us see the 55th verse. यं दृष्ट्वा न अपरं दृश्यं यद्भूत्वा न पुनर्भवः यज्ञात्वा न अपरं ज्ञेयं तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् तिर्यक् पूर्णम् सच्चिदानन्दमद्वयम् अनन्तं नित्यमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् अतद्व्यावृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तैः लक्ष्यते द्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्. There are a series of slokas ending with the makuta or the tadbrahmetyavadharayet. Tat brahma iti avadharayet. Atadvyavrutti rupena vedantaihi lakshate advayam. अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेति अवधारयेत्. तद्ब्रह्मा इति अवधारयेत्. Realize that to be Brahman. What is that? Advayam, non-dual. Akhandam, indivisible. Anandam, bliss absolute, ekam, one and only one. Advayam, akhandam, anandam, ekam, yad brahma, tat avadharayet. You realize, you understand, you be in that, you decisively know about avadharayet, realize that to be Brahman. What is Brahman? Yad brahma tad avadharayet. What is that Brahman? Yat advayam, non-dual, ekam, one and only one, akhandam, no parts, indivisible, anandam, the bliss absolute, which is indicated in the Vedanta. What is that Vedanta's indication here? Atadvyavrutti rupena vedantaihi lakshate. When you negate all the tangible objects, there will be one remaining immutable substratum. That substratum is Brahman. Okay. So there is a TV or cinema show going on the screen. There is trial part. Then you have got the real part. Then the heroine, hero, dance, all these things have come. After negating all these things, after stopping all the projection of the world, what remains like the screen underlying, which is supporting all those characters, the villain, the hero, the fire, the elephant, the garden, the love, the romance, the quarrel, the bloodshed, everything is supported by that screen. But the screen is untouched by that. Like that, the supporter of everything, the adhyayanam, supporter of everything is this Brahman, on which every dance is occurring, every show is occurring. Just like a stage on which all the characters are there, if all the characters depart and go home, stage alone remains. Like that, Vedantaihi, by Vedanta. Third case, Vedantaihi, by Vedanta, Lakshyate, not directly shown as this is Brahman. It is indicated, symbolized, lakshyate, lakshyam, the indicated one. Lakshyate. What is that lakshyate? What is indicated? Advayam. Non-dual, akhandam, indivisible, anandam, blissful, or akhandanandam, indivisible bliss, one bliss absolute. If you take it as a combined word, akhandanam, it is like that only it is there. Akhandam, anandam, it didn't give two words. He has given akhandanandam, akhanda, indivisible, anandam, the bliss absolute. Ekam, is there anything similar to that or better than that? Nothing. Ekam, yat, that which, tat, that Brahman, tad Brahma, iti, in this manner, thus, avatharayet, realize to be that Brahman which is you yourself. Let's read the verse again. अतद्व्यावृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तैः लक्ष्यते द्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेति अवधारयेत्. Now, we may wonder how there can be such a Brahman at all. What is Anantam? How can it be one? And how can that be Nityam? And how can that be Ananda Swarupam? How can that be Advayam? Is there anything like that at all? See, you see any object, it is not Anantam. It is not Nityam. Whereas here, Anantam Nityam, you are saying, we are seeing many, not Ekam. And nothing is giving me, the absolute Ananda. It's only giving a relative Ananda. Whatever I am cognizing and seeing in the world, Anantam not, Nityam not, Ekam not, Anandam absolute not, Advayam not. But there is Brahman, which is Anantam, Nityam, Ekam, Anandam, and Advayam. Why? Because whatever we experience as object or experience is a parichannam, divided, conditioned, limited. Why? This is not Anantam, this is not Nityam, this is not Ekam, this is not Sat, this is not Chit, this is Dukkhamayam. We see a contrast in things. One side you have limited, not Anantam. What is Anityam, not permanent. The other side you have got unlimited, infinite, and then Nityam, Anekam, that is Ekam, Asat, transitory, Sat, Chit, Dravya, Jada. Asat is the Vyavahara, and Sat is the Brahma. And then Achit, which is not Chaitanya, but Jada, that is Chit. This is Dukkham, always mixed with unhappiness. That is bliss absolute. These are diametrically opposite things. What I am perceiving in the world is totally different from what is the description of that what I am, the Brahman. So, how can such a Brahman be contemplated? What is the pramanam to say such a Brahman exists? I want to know what is the pramanam. Pramanam means the instrument of knowledge. With what instrument of knowledge I will be able to cognize Brahman like an object? The answer is Vedanta says you cannot cognize as an object because the Brahman happens to be the subject, you yourself. For that we say Vedanta in the Vedanta, by the Vedanta. Vedanta reveals that Brahman. Vedanta alone is the pramana. This is called Sapta Pramana. There are 6 types of pramanas used in Vedanta. One is Pratyaksha, that is direct cognition with any one of your senses. Pratyaksha Pramana. Second one is called the inference, also called Anumana. Anumana is there is smoke on the mountain, so there must be fire. There would have been fire there, some sort of inference. One is direct cognition, then is inferentio deductio. Inferentio deductio is the Anumana. Then you have called Arthapatti, Anupalapthi, and then Upamana and Shabda. We'll come to Pramanas in some other class. You may understand that there are 6 Pramanas, out of which the direct Pramana cognition is Pratyaksha and the Anumana inference. Both of them directly don't apply here. Then what Pramana applies? Is a Shabda Pramana. Shabda means Vedanta Pramana, Upanishad Pramana, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, Brahma Sutras, which are all the Sara essence of the Vedas, and that is the Pramana. Vedanta, by the Vedanta Pramana only. If we use Pratyaksha Pramana, or logic or science, unfortunately, you will not be able to cognize Brahman. Show me Brahman, I wanted to say, unfortunately, Pratyaksha Pramana is not possible. Let me analyze and find out whether Brahman is there or not by tarka or sort of logic, not possible. Let me approach it with physics, chemistry and science, not possible. Why it's not possible? Why Pratyaksha Pramana is not revealing? Tarka or the logic is not revealing. Logicians cannot explain. Scientists cannot explain. Individually, you cannot Pratyaksha see. Why? They all function in the objective field. You understand? Pratyaksha Pramana can see only the object. Tarkam useful for analyzing, and then logic for the various objects. Science, of course, deals with the objects only. Say where science stops, Vedanta starts. Why? Science stops at the end of all the objects, and then Vedanta goes to the subject of that which cognizes the objects. So Pratyaksha Pramana, Tarka Pramana, Science Pramana are not useful, unfortunately or fortunately. The next question is, how can even Vedanta reveal Brahman? Because if Vedanta reveals Brahman, then there is a direct Vedanta Pramana, Brahman becomes an object. Let's say there is Vedanta knowledge. If this knowledge is going to reveal Brahman, then Vedanta is Pramana, and this is the Prameya, or the one which is understood. Vedanta is the Pramana. There is a Prameya, that is the object is there. Brahman becomes an object. It's not an object. Vedanta will be the revealer and Brahman will be revealed. In that case, my Vedanta is the revealer or the Pramana or the instrument of knowledge, and the revealed becomes the Brahman. And what we will be doing? We are sitting like this and say, yeah, you are Brahman. Vedanta said, yeah, I am Brahman. That way you think. That classification is called Pramata, myself, Pramana, Vedanta, Prameya, the object that I understood, the Brahman. This division does not apply. This is applicable for all objective knowledge. There will be an observer, the Pramata, there will be an instrument of cognition, the Pramana, and there will be an object of cognition, which is the Prameya. Pramatra, Pramana, Prameya, Vilakshanam, Brahma. Shankaracharya says, Vedanta does not reveal Brahman directly. Why? If it reveals, it becomes a Pramana, and Brahma becomes a Prameya, and you are the one who knows you the Brahman. That doesn't work. Then what does Vedanta do? It uses a negative method in which it negates everything. See, we also in several times we use negative technology. For example, if you want to see some certain bacilli, we cannot stain them positively. Then we use negative birefringence. Dark field examination, negative birefringence. Negatively with everything else is illumined. Whatever is remaining, that will be the bacterium. Like that here also, negatively, because everything we know, whatever we know is anityam, Paricchinnam, limited, Dvaitam, manifold. And therefore, Upanishad keeps on negating once everything is negated, only the one that remains unnegated. Who is remaining unnegated? The negator alone will remain unchanged. You negated this. This is not Brahman, that is not Brahman, body is not Brahman, mind is not Brahman, my possessions are not Brahman, wall is not Brahman, elephant is not Brahman. These are negated. Then if you negate everything, you will be negating means you are not removing the object. Cognitively, you are understanding in that shape and that form, we can't call it as Brahman. But in the elephant, in the wall, in the table, in you, everywhere the Brahman is sitting. Then what am I seeing? I am seeing only Brahman and I am unnecessarily calling it as something else. I am seeing Lakshman here, I am seeing Radhapalli here, I am seeing Chaitanya here, I am seeing Dharankel here. I am not seeing them. I am seeing only the Brahman. They are only Brahman Swarupa. We are mistaking them as so and so gentleman is Dharankel, our teacher, so and so is our friend, Lakshman, like that we are differentiating. In fact, whomever you encounter, whatever you encounter, you are encountering Brahman only. But by mistake, you are saying, this is this object, this is this person, this is this experience. When you leave this Nama and Rupa, name and form, look, you start seeing the one unity or oneness, which is the aparichinna, unconditioned, nityam, satyam. That is the Brahman. So Vedanta never reveals directly or positively. It uses a prakriya, a methodology of teaching, a pedagogical method called na iti, na iti. This is not, this is not. Until you come across everything. This is not means elephant is not Brahman. Don't say that. Elephant, when I look at an elephant, is not Brahman. Elephant, when I look at as Chaitanya, is Lakshman, when I look at as Lakshman, is not directly Brahman. Lakshman is a mixture of two things, the body mind Indriya complex and the Brahman himself. The body mind Indriya complex are anityam, they come and go. The Nitya part, the Chaitanya part is ever existing. Even when Lakshman is born, it is there, it will be there, and it is going to be there forever. That is the Shankaracharya says, Atad vyavrutti rupena. That you have to understand. For that only, all this discussion. What is the verse now? Atadvyavrutti rupena vedantaihi lakshate advayam akhandanandam ekam yad brahma yat tad brahma ityavadharayet. What is this now? Where are we? We have to know what is called the atadvyavrutti rupena. Atat means what? Tat, that. Atat, not that. In neti neti we say not this. In atat we say not that, not that. Both are same. By negating is other than atadvyavrutti rupena. Counter anything, that is not Brahman. This is not Brahman. In form, in that shape, in that divisibility. But in Chaitanya part, one and it's only one and the same thing. Atadvyavritti rupena means by negating everything which is other than the Brahman. What is that? Sarvadrishyam. Whatever is an object of perception, cognition, everything is atad. Atadvyavritti rupena, by negating all drishya vastus, whatever that is left out, is indirectly revealed as Brahman. So Vedanta says, Advayam Brahma, Pramana Avishesham Brahma Lakshate. This Brahma is being shown as that when you leave out cognitively in the mind, you leave out the differences between people, between objects. What remains as the consciousness principle, that is Brahman. Once all the pramatas are left out, seers are there. Lakshman, Ram, Krishna, Lakshmi. So many people are there in the community. They are seeing objects. These are all pramatas. There are objects, table, chair, house, road, objects of cognition. Or even people of cognition. That is prameya. Pramana, they see with the eyes, they hear, they touch, use any one of the five indriyas. This is prameya. When you negate all the pramatas, the knowers, and the prameyas, and the pramanas, instruments, finally what comes out is pramatru prameya pramana vilakshanam. When objects of knowledge are all negated, whatever is left out, that is Brahman. Suppose we all go away, what will be there? You all go away. Who will be there? I will be there. Suppose let's all go away from the room. What will be there? Room alone remains. Likewise, when you subtract everything, there will be one which is still left out. That one is the Brahman. Pramatru prameya pramana vilakshanam Brahman. Okay. Now, let's read the verse again. Atadvyavrutti rupena vedantaihi lakshate. Atadvyavrutti rupena vedantaihi lakshate dvayam akhandanandamekam yat tad brahmeti avatharayet. Deep insight also we can have. This is he is bringing to climax the description of Brahman. The Swarupa began in the preceding verses, and now having established Brahman is limitless, eternal, ekam, non-dual, anantam, nityam, ekam, advayam. Acharya now answers the fundamental question, how is this Brahman to be known? If Brahman is beyond all objects of experience, what is the means of knowledge? This verse explains Vedanta lakshate. Vedanta alone is the Brahman. How, in what way? Vedanta cannot directly show you. You open the book of Vedanta, Kathopanishad, you don't find this is Brahman, you will not be able to find. In fact, it says whatever you conceive as Brahman, that is not Brahman, because Brahman is not an object of consciousness. Okay. So, it is consciousness itself. How do I know? Atadvyavrutti rupena. By negating all the possible pramana, pramata, prameya, all the knower, known and knowledge and the instrument of it, what remains is the Chaitanya or the consciousness principle, which is in and through is everything. When everything objectifiable is negated, one reality which is the substratum, which is holding all these differences, which is the very consciousness per se, that remains, and that itself is the Brahman. Thus, what remains is the self-revealing I, not the empirical ahankara. When I say I, not this body-mind ahankara. I means the consciousness principle in everything. That beauty is that consciousness principle is the same right from a small ant to the greatest God which you are thinking. Vedanta therefore does not positively describe Brahman, reveals Brahman shining as one's own consciousness after all the superimpositions are removed. What are the superimpositions? I have a body ideation, strongly believe somebody asked, who am I? Say, I am this body. A little bit inquisitive person asks, no, I am the doctor, I am the intelligence, I am the brain, whatever you want to call. But unfortunately, all these have no independent existence. They come and go, they have no nityatva, they are anitya, they are aparipurna, incomplete, they are all conditioned parichinna. Either consciousness absolute is the nityam, ekam, adhyayam, anandam, that is Brahman. How is that revealed? By Vedanta knowledge only. Can you go to Vedanta book and directly find Brahman? Just like an answer for a particular theorem, no, you cannot find like that. Why? Brahma is not the object. It is the consciousness principle and everything. Then how do I find? Atadvyavrutti rupena. By negating everything cognizable, every objective knowledge is negated. Then who remains? Don't say nothing. Unlike the Buddhists, they say, if everything is negated, only Sunya remains. That no, then you remain. Everything is negated. You means not the body. You, the Chaitanya you, is remaining. That Chaitanya you is the absolute. Okay. Very nice verse where we can contemplate on this very much. What is that? Pure, non-dual, indivisible, akhandam, ekam, advayam, brahma. Tad brahma, that is Brahman. Avatarayet, contemplate, realize, be one with that. अतद्व्यावृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तैः लक्ष्यते द्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकम् यत् तद्ब्रह्मेति अवधारयेत्. Now, I'm going to open everyone so that there will be a chance for some of you to recite this particular verse. Okay. I'll project it and also open for everyone.
अतद्व्यावृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तैर्लक्ष्यते अद्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकम् यत् तद्ब्रह्मेति अवधारयेत्.
Anyone else?
अतद्व्यावृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तैः लक्ष्यते द्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्.
Anyone else?
Yes, Guruji. Atadvyavritti rupena vedantahi lakshye dvayam akhandanandam ekam yat tad brahmeti avadharayet.
Yeah, you can see there is an apostrophe before that dvayam. It should be understood as advayam. Right? Pronunciation, you say lakshate dvayam, but there is a there, advayam. Advayam means non-dual. So understand that atadvyavrutti, all of you would have understood. What is atadvyavrutti? All atat padartha, all that is not Brahman, we have negated. Now let us read the 58. अखण्डानन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रितः अखण्डानन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्याः तारतम्येन भवन्त्यनन्दिनो खिला. No khila with an apostrophe, no khila. Beautiful verse. Let us read that. Akhandananda rupasya. That Akhandananda we have said in the previous verse. That is the Akhandananda Rupa Brahma. Tasya, from that, Ananda Lavasrita. Take a little bit minutest of the minute part of that particular Ananda. Is what we are enjoying as different Anandas. Even Brahmadya, even we say the creator Brahman, which you have a conceptual creator. Even he is Ananda also. It's only a small proportion of that Akhandananda. Brahmadya taratamyena bhavanti anandina arandinaha akhilah. This is the verse. Let us go into the details of it. We'll read once again. Akhandananda rupasya tasyananda lavasritah brahmadyah taratamyena bhavantyanandino khila. You have to understand difference between two words. Brahman is absolute Nirguna Brahma, which we are learning. Brahma, with that akara, the dirgha, or the continuous the Brahma. He is the creator Brahma, which is there in the Puranas. Saraswati is a husband, the one who sits with the lotus with four Vedas in hands, supposed to be the creator grandsire. That is the Brahma. Brahma. If you simply say without that ha, it becomes Brahman, which is the absolute Nirguna Brahma. Brahmadi Taratamyena. Akada Brahma is creator Brahma in the verse. Okay. Is there a creator Brahma? Many people think he is there, let him be there. Don't worry about whether he is there or not. What is important is I am there. That is important. Do you agree that you are there? Yeah, all of you agree you are there. Suppose I ask Chaitanya or Jaya or anyone, are you there? Will you go and tell me, no, I'll ask my husband or wife, then I will find out whether I am there. You never ask that, isn't it? Okay, so this eye here is not the physical eye we are seeing. Deities like Brahma and others taste only a particle size ananda. Lava is particle. Yasyam shamsalave vilenamathuna anandamrutam nirvrutam. Vivekachudam. Yasya, whose amsha, part of that part, lava, minute part of that is what we are enjoying. Today you went to a movie or a new movie you have seen, beautifully enjoyed all that. That ananda is nothing but that ananda. But only a part of that ananda. Why this ananda comes and goes? Because it is annamaya kosha, it is bound to your mind, and once the ananda is bound to your mind, it is going to vanish. If you enter the mind, then the ananda bliss absolute you are. Yasyam sham chalave vilenamathuna anandamrutam nirvrutam. Lavasritah akhandananda rupasya. So the unlimited bliss Brahman, bliss absolute Brahman. The Brahma and other the deities which are the creator, etc., they only taste a particle, a small part, a small proportion of that akhandananda rupasya, whose nature is unbroken, bliss absolute, tasya, he is mine, like that he is. Tasya means Shashti Vibhakti. He is. That anandas, first phrase. Depending upon that, just a particle of that bliss is called Brahmadaya. Creator and Adaya means other deities. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, Ganesha, Anjaneya. You keep all this list you have. All that, everyone is blissful because of that ananda only. Means what? These are nothing but that ananda only. We are not negating Shiva Vishnu as gods. Shiva Vishnu are of course gods. You yourself is Brahman. Then why not they? They are also Brahman only. Only thing is, when you are looking at that condition thing, the gentleman, Vishnu gentleman, see, a Lord is there, he is with this shape, with this form, sitting in one particular place, Kailasa, Vaikuntha or Parasamudra, then you have conditioned and made him limited. When you remove the limitation in him, that particular deity is nothing but the Brahman only. Okay? In proportion, Bhavanti Anandinaha, they become blissful, a small part of that. Akhandananda Rupasya, Brahmadhyah means all Brahma, etc. Akhandananda Rupasya, Tasya. Akhandananda Rupasya itself is the seventh, the Sashti Vibhakti, sixth case. That is, it's Akhandananda Rupas, Tasya Ananda Lavasritaha. Belonging to that Ananda only, little bit part, Brahmadyah, Brahma, etc. Taratamyena, Tara, Tama. Taratamya word you have to understand. Comparative, positive, comparative, superlative. Sukham, Sukhataram, Sukhatamam. Sukham is positive, happiness. Sukhataram, comparative degree. Sukhatamam is the superlative degree. Taratamya, taratama, positive, comparative, and superlative differences. Okay, these taratamyana, oh, this man is short, this man is shorter, this man is shortest, this lady is elder, she is more, yeah, this lady is old, elder, eldest. All that comparison, this taratamya in the ananda, that one is a positive degree, the other is comparative degree, the other is superlative degree. That is called taratamya. Taratamya means Brahmadi, Brahmadhyah, Taratamyana. The comparative happiness of people has simple happiness, more happiness, most happiness. Like that, Bhavanti, they are getting it. Anandinaha, they become happier, they are becoming happy. Akhilah, everyone. Akhandananda Rupasya Tasyananda Lavashrita Brahmadyah Taratamyena Bhavanti Anandino Khila. Previous sloka, Acharya talked about the Brahman, the Akhandam Ekam Anandam, Akhandanandam. Naturally, we would like to know how big is that Anand. Wanted to know, no? It's Akhandananda, he said. Akhandananda means, is it this big, this big, this big, this big, this big, or my hands cannot reach? This big? How much big is that? Naturally, he wanted to quantify it. Isn't it? If you say anything, you wanted to quantify or qualify it. Either if it is more water, less water, much water, like that. More money, less money, like that. You want everything, you want to put it into quantification. Here, if you want to quantify this, how big it will be, you cannot conceive the ananda as a quantity because it is unquantifiable. Aprameyam. Prameya is quantification. Aprameya is non-quantification. Prameya is object. Object can be quantified, measured in weight, size, shape, color, texture, everything, but this cannot be quantified. Taittiriya Upanishad has got a beautiful part called the Ananda Mimamsa. Mimamsa is analysis, intricate discussion. What is the discussion about what? About the Anand. Then it says, let us imagine that one person is there in the world who has got whatever positive attribute you say, he has got that. There's no, this is only imaginary thing. Just imagine a person has got all the wealth, best of health, he has got best of progeny, he has got best of riches, everything in the world he is possessing, let us say. That is called 1 unit of human ananda. That one is 1 unit. You can now imagine how far down we are from that 1 unit. Okay? Then they go on multiplying it tenfold, 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 like that 8 times until you reach 8 into 10, 800 folds. That is called Brahmaji's. That is the Creator's Ananda. That Creator's Ananda itself is only a lavasrita, only a minute part of the Brahmananda is Brahmaji's Ananda. Brahmaji is Creator. The absolute Brahman's Ananda is called Brahmananda, Akhandananda. That Akhandananda, let us unimaginable. But if you want to have some conceptual idea, if you have the best of the best positions for any human being, that is one human ananda called Manushyananda. After the Manushyananda, you go on multiplying it by 10, not multiplying. You make it tenfold. Tenfold, 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 like that you increase until you reach Brahmananda, which is 8 into 10, 800 fold of the human ananda. And that is Brahmaji's ananda. And that Brahmaji's Ananda is only a very minuscule part of that ocean. If you can imagine now, if Brahmananda were to be an ocean, this Brahmaji's Ananda is a drop in the ocean. And what does this mean? This is nothing but, this is not about the mathematical calculations or tenfold or eightfold. This is to say the infinite nature of that Ananda, the unconceivable, immeasurable, aprameya, the ananta nature of that Ananda. Ananda is Ananta. I told you last class. If it is in the individual, it is called Ananda. If it is in the samasti, same Ananda is called Ananta. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satchid Anandam Brahma. Sat Chit Anandam. Sat Chit Anandam Yashti. Sat Chit Anantam is samasti. Satyam Jnanam. Jnana is Chit. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satchid Anandam Brahma. That's it. So, these calculations, algebra and these things, the arithmetics don't work out. That is not the idea here. The idea is to say that Brahmananda is infinite. Brahmaji's Ananda also only a finite part of that Ananda. So lavasritaha tasya anandasya, of that Ananda, very small part, lavasritaha brahmadaya. Brahmadaya means Brahmaji, the Hiranyagarbha Brahma, or the creator Brahma, who has got the highest Ananda in this relative world. If you compare the relative world, who is the most Ananda Swarupa? Brahmaji. Hiranyagarbha Brahma, the creator. Because he possesses everything, is creator and creation of everything. So he is probably the richest, smartest, beautiful, most possessive of everything. That is the Brahmaji, conceptually. And that Brahmaji's Ananda is only a very small part of the Nirguna Brahmananda. Adipadat Brahmadya. Brahmadaya means Adi means etc. Others, who are the others? Can put all the Anandas, Prajapati Ananda, Devananda, Gandharvananda, Manushyananda, all these things. In short, all varieties of Jiva Rasis, the Pranikoti, the groups of created being, depending on Tasya Ananda Lavasrita. All of us are dependent on our happiness, on that Ananda Lava Asrita. Tasya means Brahmanaha. Ananda Lava Asrita. Only one drop of Brahmananda is taken, and that drop of Brahmananda is distributed to all the created beings. You can understand how little part you got it from Brahmananda. Then how can I get that Brahman? Can you get it? If you are having such a minuscule happiness from that Brahman, can I remove this minusculeness and make it the Purnananda or Brahmananda? Yes. You don't have to ascend through that ladder of, Prajapati, this, that, Brahman. Just by realizing that you are that Brahman, the entire Ananda is yours. How do I realize that? By not concentrating on what is cognizable as an object or Nama and Rupa, but focusing myself onto the Chaitanya part, which is the absolute one, and I am not this, I am not this. Like this, you can Atat Vyavrutti Rupena, you have to get it. You can negate every conceivable objective world cognitively. Don't destroy the not a glass or table or house. If you do know Brahman, that's not required at all, and you should not also. Let them be there. In spite of their being there, I don't give any satyatva or real existence, absoluteness to that, and understand they are only relative, and live with an idea, I'm the absolute. Okay, Brahmananda Lavashraya. But when I say, can you imagine the level of Brahmananda? You cannot. This is extremely careful. One should not think Brahmananda is going to be another big, extreme happy experience. Unfortunately, it is not such a happy experience, which will, however big it is, if you say, it becomes limited. So the moment we say it is an experience, it becomes limited. This Brahmananda is not an experience. Why? It is you yourself. Brahmananda, tasting mango is an experience. You get some pleasure out of it. That is limited. As long as you are tasting, you have it. Once that is gone, the taste also lingers for a few minutes and then goes. And that goes. This is not like that. This is not an objective experience. This is the subject itself. This is not a mental understanding. This is not what you get in samadhi. This is not what you get in sleep. This is what you are when you are awake. How do we call it ananda? Once we know this, we understand that any other ananda is only relative, and Swarupananda is the absolute. Like a mirror. Any ananda is like a mirror. If you see something in the mirror, you know the object, you know that it is a glass, that it is, say, a person, but you don't get the reality there. So like that, all ananda are mirror images, and the original ananda is the Purnananda which you are. It is not an objective experience, it is not an object either, nor a cognizable object, nor a measurable object. Now, 58 concludes the description. Hereafter, we are entering into a new path of Atma Bodha. Until now, the Brahman's description of understanding Brahman cannot be described, because what is not an objective cannot be described. But having said that, we try to use our words: akhanda, nirguna, nirvikara, nirvikalpa, eka, ananta. All those words are only to make you some understanding of that. Akhanda, infinite, indivisible, bliss, akhandananda. By answering an important question that naturally raised in the previous verse. If Brahman is the limited place, how are we to understand its greatness? How big is that? Human mind, can it fathom the greatness of that? Sorry, your mind cannot reach it. You cannot understand in the mind as this much Ananda. This is what is said in the Ananda Mimamsa of Taittiriya Upanishad. Okay, the Upanishad scale gives a scale, a human scale, then demigods, then the gods, then the celestials, then the Prajapati, then ultimately the Brahmaji, the creator, and that creator's Ananda is supposed to be the best among this ladder. That also is a very small, minuscule part of that Brahmananda. Essential teaching here is not mathematical, not the arithmetics or the geometric progression or harmonic progression they are showing. It is philosophical. From the every form of happiness experienced in the world, however exalted it is finite and therefore mixed and limited. Even the happiest individual carries some traces of dissatisfaction, fear, incompleteness. Every worldly joy accompanied by the possibility of loss and must come to an end. Therefore, remains imperfect or conditioned or limited. Brahmananda alone is completely free from any trace of sorrow. It is not merely greater happiness. It is the Ananda per se, unconditioned, unlimited, untouched by want, fear, and change. Shankaracharya further explains that all beings, from the ordinary humans to the Brahmaji himself, the creator, derive their happiness only from a tiny reflected part of that lava, of that infinite bliss. The differences in happiness between beings and celestials, between beings and different celestial gods, the Taratamya is only because of the Upadhi. The upadhis create some. This is simpler, present, positive. This is comparative. This is superlative. Taratamya differences are because of the capacity of the individual minds to absorb that particular act. Just as different vessels hold different quantities of same water, you have a small tumbler, you have a bigger vessel, you have a very big vessel, you have the well, like that. The quantity of that depends upon the capacity of the vessel. Like that, the Taratama Bheda, the graded experience, is because of the Upati. But the Ananda is one and the same. Okay? You take a pot and then dip it in water, in the ocean or in the river. Then, if I ask you, is there water in the pot? Yeah, yes. Hot water. Then, is there water outside the pot? Yeah, yes. Is the water outside the pot same as the water inside the pot? It is same only. Why I call pot water? Because I conditioned it with this pot. Suppose the pot breaks in your hand, what will happen? The pot water is the river water or the samudra water. Okay, different big experience, graded happiness according to their mental purity and subtlety. The relative joys are nothing but limited, but the absolute joy is the Brahmananda. They were introduces crucial Advaitic clarification. One must not imagine Brahmananda as an extraordinary, intense, emotional experience or ecstatic, mystical state. No, no, no. Brahmananda will be mystical. When I get that, I won't stand on the earth. I'll be flying. Just like when I drink Coca-Cola, I'll be flying all over. I've shown in the advertisement. This must be even higher. It must be taking. Not like that. Even when you drink Coca-Cola, you will never even half a millimeter you don't raise from the ground. That's only from the advertisement point of view, they put it like that. Any experience, however sublime, okay, the verse introduces a crucial clarification. One must not imagine Brahmananda as an extraordinary, intense emotional ecstasy or joy or something. Any experience, however sublime, brings to the mind and arises in time and therefore fine. Brahmananda is not experience in the mind. It is the Swarupa itself. It is not objective knowledge. Practical implication of the teaching is transformative. Why? Since every joy ultimately originates from the self itself, seeking fulfillment through external objects is fundamentally wrong and misguided. Objects merely provide an occasion for the mind to reflect the same bliss which is already within you. A wise, therefore, ceases to chase finite pleasures and discover that the source of all happiness is within, none other than your own self. This understanding alone constitutes the ananda of the jnani, a fullness born out of experience, not the objective experience, objective ananda. In essence, 58 teaches that Brahmananda is infinite, immeasurable, indivisible, not objective, doesn't come and go, and this is the very nature of yourself. That is, you yourself is the Brahman. You not in the physical sense of the body, but in the sense of the Chaitanya you are. Every happiness experienced in the universe, from the simplest human pleasure to the exalted Brahmaji's pleasure, is only an infinitesimally small reflection or lava of that reality. Brahmananda is not extraordinary mental experience. It is not a mystic experience. It is never, but the ever-present fullness that you are, recognized through the self-knowledge. With this truth understood, one no longer seeks happiness outside oneself, for all happiness is discovered to arise from your own essential nature, Satchidananda Rupa. Let us read the verse. Yeah, I am reading the second line. You read. अखण्डानन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्याः Taratamyena. If you combine those words, Brahmadyah, Brahma, etc., celestials, Adyah, plural. Taratamya is the next word. Adyah taratamyana, Adyas taratamyana. Brahmadyas taratamyena or Brahmadyah taratamyena bhavanti anandino khilah. Bhavantyanandino khilah. Bhavanti anandino khilah. Both are okay. अखंडानंद रूपस्य तस्यानंद लवश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्याः तारतम्येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनो खिलाः. There is an apostrophe, anandinah akhilah, anandino khilah. Now somebody can read. Chaitanya? Anybody else can try?
Sir, Harivom, sir.
Yeah,
May I read, sir?
please.
Yes. Akhandananda Rupasya Tasyananda Lavasritah Brahmadhyaya Brahmadhyasa Taratamyena Bhavancananda Anandino Khilaha
Brahmadyah तारतम्येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनो खिलाः.
ब्रह्मज्यास तारतम्येन
not ब्रह्मज्याः, ब्रह्माद्याः तारतम्येन.
ब्रह्माद्याय तारतम्येन भवन्चानन्दिनो खिलः.
खिलाः, खिलाः, not खिलाः, खिलाः plural. ब्रह्माद्याः plural, no, that's अखिलाः.
Yes, अखिलाः. Yes.
आश्रिताः plural. Brahma, why dirgham? Because Brahma dirgham only created Brahman. If you say Hasva Brahma, it becomes Brahman option. That's it.
Sir, let me try once again, sir. Akhandananda Rupasya Tasyananda Lavasritah
Lavasritah, not Lavasritah.
Yes, yes.
You are making it singular number. Lavasritah. Lavasritah.
Brahmadyasa Taratamyena Bhavancanandino Khilah.
Brahma, dirgham you have to pronounce. Brahmadyah taratamyena bhavanti anandino khilah.
While listening seems to be easy, but by pronouncing the real difficult anyway, after the thorough practice.
Yeah, you can practice at home. Somebody else can try.
Harivom, sir. Harivom.
Please.
Akhandananda Rupasya Tasya Ananda Lavasritah.
Lava kadandi, lava. Lavasritah. Not lava.
Lavasritah. Akhandananda Rupasya Tasya Ananda Lavasritah Brahmadyas Taratamyena Bhavancanandino Akhilaha.
Correct. Okay. Next.
Sir, shall I try, sir?
You try without mistakes, you try.
Akhandananda Rupasya Tasya Ananda Lavashritaha Brahmadasya Taratamyena Bhavanti Ananda Akilaha.
Okay. Next.
Anandino Akilaha.
Anandinaha Akhilaha. Anandino Akhilaha.
Anandino Akilaha. Okay, sir.
Hariom Guruji, can I try?
Right. Please, please.
Akhanda Ananda Rupasya Tasya Ananda Lava Asritaha ब्रह्माद्य तारतम्येन भवन्ति आनन्दिनो अखिला.
Correct. Anybody else?
अखण्डानन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्याः तारतम्येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनो अखिलाः.
Amulya, you please read.
హరివంశ స్వామీజీ నేను చెప్పమంటారా?
చెప్పండి.
आनन्दरूपस्य तस्यानन्दलवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्याः तारतम्येन भवन्ति आनन्दिनोऽखिलाः.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
అఖండానందరూపస్య తస్యానందలవాశ్రితాః బ్రహ్మాద్యాస్తారతమ్యేన భవంత్యానందినోऽఖిలాः.
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.